Well, it's already the midpoint of 2023, yet it feels like the past 6 months have gone by in a flash. We've just reached July and my brain tells me that stuff I did in February was a few weeks ago. At the same time, it feels like a lot has gone by too, but mostly behind the curtains. Let's look at the numbers. When looking at the stats on a day-by-day basis, I felt that the first half of 2023 had been considerably more successful than 2022, at least when looking at the last 48 hours graph every day. The view counts on there have almost always been about 30 to 40% higher than they tended to be in 2022, and aside from a small dip in May, ironically enough, not a single day of the year has seen less than 250 views. However, subscribers gained has actually taken a hit, and the total stats for the past 6 months don't actually show an increase in views over 2022's first half. Of course, that's due to the unexplainable boost back in April and the spike in May with the Koromon video, which continues to stagnate like usual because of course it does. I also fudged up all of March thanks to some unexpected twists coming from real life and online. As you might know, I got review copies for 2 games, Supplies and Cassette Beasts. Because those are new releases, it's more important from an analytics perspective to get those videos out as soon as possible, so I can catch the hype train. Sadly, neither performed very well. At best, Supplies got an average amount of views, while Cassette Beasts severely underperformed my expectations. As of now, it's barely outdone Gungrave Overdose, a video that I knew was likely to not do so well. Given that monster taming is one of my main shticks and that it's a niche game, I expected it to be at least on par with average. Maybe it's because it took me a while to get it finished due to stuff on the back end, but so did Koromon. Lufia seems to be doing okay-ish. Next Encounter and Pandora's Tower did alright, Undead Nights was a flop, and Code Vein was not good but also not terrible. Though that last one was a jerk-off video, more for myself than anyone else, so I guess I'm not really bothered. To nobody's surprise, Black and White 3 is easily the best performing video of the year so far. As it should be, given how well the Gold 97 saga has done. But the monkey paw struck again, and after 2 years of monetization, I can finally make jokes about the funny little yellow sign. That video was demonetized for reasons I'm not quite sure of. YouTube says it's because of foul language, which, okay, sure, I did call in for a salty cunt. It's just that, seriously? This is what YouTube decided wasn't suitable for advertisers? Not Undead Nights? Or Pandora's Tower? Or Code Vein, where I stick my dirty fingers inside a woman's innards while screaming about menopause? But however you look at it, not demonstrably beating 2022's first half is a bad showing, because 2023 is supposed to be a year about triggering growth for the channel. The majority of the views this year have come from past videos, not new ones. The best thing I can say about the past 6 months is that they have been consistent in terms of analytics, since there were no cases of YouTube deciding to spam one of my videos for no apparent reason. That temporary boost to the Dragon Quest Monsters videos made sense, because they happened at the same time that Squeenix announced the new game. Finally, some logic on the algorithm. I don't want to sound ungrateful, because those spikes in 2022 were objectively better for the channel's stats. It's just that it's frustrating to see my efforts get outdone by a friggin' coin flip. At the start of the year, I also decided to knee-jerk a new naming scheme for the videos, which I have indeed put into practice. Did it help? Not really. Even Black and White 3 didn't get super good analytics. It did good, but it didn't do exceptionally good. As for my scheduling plans, yeah, those were a total mess. It started well, but with March it all went to pieces. April was supposed to be a hard-hitting month, with Code Vein, Rufia and a third video that I've since pushed back to the second half. But as you've noticed, that's not how it went. Life delayed Rufia for too long, and I really wanted to get Code Vein out on April Fools. But then life delayed Code Vein, and Black and White 3 came out, and I thought it was a good idea to make a quick video about it. And then I got the supplies and Cassette Beasts review copies, and I didn't want to discard those opportunities. The latter was exceptionally cool because it was one of the PR people at Raw Fury who came to me a couple of months before, asking me if I was interested in getting a copy of the game when it's close to release. It was nice to know that people are noticing me here in my little corner. The silver lining of the delays is that by the time this calmed down, I had the Code Vein and Rufia scripts finished, and all I had left to do was record my voice and edit. Thank God for that, because June is always a busy month for me. I can't remember the last time that I had some buffer videos almost ready to go, instead of constantly moving from one to the next. As for YouTube itself as a platform, there have been some developments recently, which may or may not be interesting. The CEO, Susan I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, Susie stepped down after years at the helm and being much maligned. Was it deserved? Was it not deserved? I don't know. The notifications and the comment section on the studio continues to be buggy as balls even after all this time, with random comments showing up as a notification yet somehow not appearing anywhere, or sometimes showing up in a video's individual comment section but not on the global one. But I do enjoy the weekly roundup that the mobile app does now. It's probably better mentally for people to just check that once every week instead of obsessing over the daily figures. The studio is finally getting A/B testing for thumbnails next year too. A couple of weeks ago, YouTube also lowered the requirements to unlock the fan funding parts of the partner program, aka the Great Monetization Enabler. The ad monetization requirements remain the same, but things like memberships and super thanks are now available earlier. Maybe this was necessary because the platform has grown to such an extent as to be oversaturated. Or maybe because subscriber numbers don't mean as much to the algorithm as much as they used to. Or alternatively, it's YouTube encouraging people to start multiple channels instead of just one. I remember that animators and other people who produced shorter videos in particular disliked the watch time requirements, so there's some good news for you. After years of nonsense, it's unexpected but certainly appreciated to see YouTube scoring some positive changes recently. In the meantime, life continues to be a mess, but I also continue to be alive. Have things gotten better since last year? Well, no. Watching the government be a clown show for months straight is all fun and good, but it gets exhausting when it's every single day. Also that same old story of inflation, a war that isn't ending anytime soon, and any future hopes being squashed by forces you can't control and all that. But I've reached acceptance and found ways to cope with it. I've been playing Honkai Star Rail every day since launch, and it made me excited to get up in the morning and grind some dailies before carrying on with my life. I've also been spending some time playing with my DS and PSP again, and have set aside an hour every night just to lay down and enjoy some friggin' video games. Scientifically, this is probably bad because blue light hurts sleep or whatever, but it lets me get in and out of bed with a smile on my face, and I consider that more important. It reminds me of the routine I had a couple of years ago, where the first and last things I did every day was to sit back and play games with no strings attached. And I think that at least one of the decisions I made on the previous channel update have resulted in a net positive. Because I feel like I put less time into YouTube, yet I still get more stuff done. I believe that some of this year's videos have been some of the best stuff I've made, period. And in sheer quantity, it hasn't been a downgrade either. In all of 2022, I made 5 hours and 31 minutes of content, while this year so far I've made 3 hours and 27 minutes. And that's with the March screw-up. Which sounds backwards when I effectively made an effort to limit the amount of words I write, and to mark every section as done as fast as possible so I can rush that first draft. Then I revise it once, rewrite the parts that need polishing, and then get to editing the video itself. Undead Nights came about as the practical result of this mentality. Actually, this channel update you're watching right now is much the same, but my point is, I completed the script for that video in just 3 days, rather than 3 days of circling around the same 5 paragraphs, trying to get them up to a quality that lives up to unachievable standards. Perfectionism is the devil. Of course, it's not a particularly complicated game to talk about. The finished result is far from perfect, and I can spot the blemishes right away. But god damn it, it's a finished video, and I'd rather get a decent script out of it than spend weeks on that last 5% to make it marginally better. So, onward to the future. First of all, a big thank you to everyone for the feedback you gave me after the previous channel update. I've changed the Patreon tiers and will be opening it literally tomorrow. For real this time. The previous plan was dumped into the garbage and replaced with a new plan composed of 2 tiers. A cheap one priced at €1 and an expensive one priced at €4. The €1 tier gets you a few goodies: the video scripts in text format, the full-sized thumbnails I use on the channel so you can see how scuffed they are when not squished down to YouTube size, and 2 original music tracks that I've used on videos, one of which you'll immediately recognize. The €4 tier is the big one, which gets you an extra video every month. That's something I said I wouldn't do, but plans changed. These extra videos will be a vlog of sorts, a behind-the-scenes look at what goes on in Merry Industries, the process behind video creation, and the thoughts I have during that process leading to the final result. In a way, it sort of overlaps with these channel updates, which I will continue to produce every 6 months. But the Patreon videos will go more in depth and expand on specific subjects rather than being a general overview of the past half year. I'm aiming to get them out around the half point of each month, but July's video is already up. The video is about 16 minutes long and it goes through the period leading up to the very first video I released. It discusses where I got the idea of making a YouTube channel from, how the first script I ever wrote isn't the one you're thinking of, as well as the many things I screwed up during that period. So if you're interested in learning more about the life of a YouTube guy, or are curious about what goes into my content production, or just want to hear me talk some more, I guess, then that's what the €4 tier is about. As for regular videos, those will continue as normal. My plans for the first half of the year might have derailed hard, but that doesn't mean that I won't be attempting them again and try to learn from the mistakes while reinforcing the victories. Maybe this approach will fail to deliver any results, but as I said last time, I've only got myself to blame. No, I haven't thought about what I'll do if the second half of the year fails to deliver any results. Maybe I'll go back to my old approach of just doing whatever, or maybe I'll keep ramming my head against the YouTube wall. I'll think about it when the time comes. I can't go into it already expecting my efforts to fail after all. I continue to believe that the issue with my growth is primarily because the videos just aren't being recommended and clicked on enough. Maybe the thumbnails and titles aren't spicy enough. Maybe people hear my voice for 5 seconds and click away. Maybe I alienated old fans with my incessant bitching. This might be an arrogant thing to say, but screw it. I'm tired of gaslighting myself into believing that it's just because the content itself isn't good enough, especially after spending the past years trying to improve every aspect of them with the resources I have. I'm doing all I can, Mr. Algorithm. It would be nice if you did too.